Are you an athlete and maybe you just got injured? Maybe your coach dropped you from a starter to third string. Maybe you got recruited to start on a team and then you get to the school and you're not a starter. Maybe you're just unclear of what your path or what your journey is and you're starting to doubt yourself. Should I go into the transfer portal? Should I not? Should I quit altogether? What am I doing? Well, if you want to never doubt yourself ever again, so much so that you build bigger goals, you work harder than you ever worked before, and despite what circumstances you go through, you can go through that circumstance with clarity, with confidence, with 100% belief in yourself, then this video is going to be for you. So before I get into teaching you guys and empowering you guys, I want you to think of your growth as one or two trees. Okay, you have one tree that's growing, you have one tree that's up, it's there, but it's deteriorating, right? It's definitely not living up to its fullest God-given potential. Then you have another tree that's vibrant, that's strong, that's green, that's lush, and this thing is strong. I mean, it's thriving. Well, what we don't see here is the root system. See, a tree can grow, but the first thing it has to do is build a root system, and it's only the root system that it has that allows it to grow. Okay, so I want you to think of your growth. I want you to think of your performance as being like a tree, but having a root system. In order to build this 100% belief and conviction in yourself, to be motivated, to be inspired, to be clear, you have to uproot any bad roots that you have that are holding you back, and you have to plant and nurture good roots so that way you can grow. So how do we do this? Well, there's 6 bad roots to replace and 6 good roots to build. So let's get into it. The first bad root is having a negative relationship with failure and mistakes. When you make a mistake, for a lot of athletes, it leaves a really deep imprint in their mind. And it starts to shape their reality. It starts to shape their identity. What psychologists call this is negativity bias. And negativity bias is as you focus more on what's negative and what's bad around you than what's good. Oh, this school stinks, or this coach stinks, or the weather is bad, or this, and you start going down a negative rabbit hole. Now, what happens is you develop what's called learned helplessness. What learned helplessness is when we experience repeated failure, repeated negativity without recovering and bouncing back strong. We begin to believe that success is out of reach. We begin to believe that we're not good enough. We start to believe that we're inadequate. So maybe you missed an easy shot, right? Maybe you had a bad practice and coach dropped you on the depth chart. Maybe you fumbled in a key moment in a big game. Instead of seeing it as part of your growth and a part of the process for you to get better and bounce back and work harder, you internalize it. You develop this learned helplessness, and you believe like it's proof that you're not good enough. So athletes who typically struggle with this replay these failures over and over and over mentally, and then your self-esteem and your self-esteem starts to drop, and your insecurity starts to go up, and this starts to manifest in your body language, in your speech, and in your energy, your attitude, and your focus. So what we need to do is we need to uproot this negative root, this negative relationship with failure and mistakes, and we need to replace it with what I call failing upward. This root allows us to reframe the failure so much so that when we go through a negative circumstance, whether it's an injury, being dropped on the depth chart, a relationship breakup, a failed test, it doesn't matter. Any type of failure or mistake, we reframe it and we're like, thank you, I'm glad I went through that. I'm going to learn from that. It's going to empower me to get better. You replace this root with this root, you're one step closer to getting stronger. The second bad root is what I call critical environments. Okay, this is negative criticism. Typically, this is when maybe you grew up in a very critical home, right? Your parents, particularly your dad maybe, was overly critical of your success. This was my journey growing up. And it almost seems like it can be good, but when it's done too much and it's not done in the right way, this criticism starts to manifest and cause you to lose your self-esteem and feel insecure. Studies show that growing up in environments that focus excessively on criticism, whether from coaches, parents, peers, maybe brother or sister, really close friends, it can lead to an internalized voice of constant disapproval. So then you start being self-critical in yourself, right? That inner critic starts to really manifest in your mind. And what happens is this starts to create feelings of inadequacy. You start feeling inadequate. Maybe there was that coach when you were in youth league that was super critical of you and telling you how you would never be good. And now you're in high school or in college and you still struggle with this feeling of inadequacy. Well, that's because you've never uprooted that, preyed on it, right? Develop the new skill of what I call having gratitude, which reshapes your perspective. So if all you hear is what you did wrong without any really acknowledgement of the effort and your improvement, especially when you were younger, it starts to create a negative feedback loop, right? And so your feedback loops is critical, and the next thing you know, you're critical of yourself, and then you do something wrong again, and then that coach or that parent or whoever is critical of you, then you're critical of yourself, and this negative feedback loop starts to happen. And what happens is your brain starts to associate effort and you working hard with criticism, not growth. And so you start to shy away from that. And then again, you start feeling inadequate. So what we need to do is uproot this negative criticism in your life, and we need to replace it with gratitude. Now, what gratitude does is it enables you to reshape and reframe your circumstances, the criticism, the things you're going through. It's just to reframe it as it being positive, that regardless of what you did wrong, you yourself are like, you know what? I'm grateful for just being alive. I'm grateful for just having this opportunity. I'm grateful to just be here. I'm grateful to just have health and have strength. I'm just grateful to be able to see another day. What happens is you start to manifest positivity in your life and your energy starts to flow at a higher frequency. Now, typically you can't change other people and make them not critical of you, but you can change your perspective of yourself by practicing gratitude every single day to empower you and uplift you and make you feel better. The third thing, the third bad root is societal pressures. Okay, in today's hyper-connected world from our phones and social media and everything like that, right? You guys are under more societal pressure than ever before. Research in sports psychology has shown that athletes who focus too much on societal standards, like maintaining a certain image or reaching unrealistic goals, experience greater levels of burnout and lower motivation. So if you're constantly comparing yourself to others and saying, oh, look at the offer that they got, look at the offer that they got, and oh, look at them at school, and oh my gosh, look, the coach is posting about them and this and that, you're always comparing yourself, you're going to feel like you can't measure up. And this is something that happens in life too, especially in life, because a lot of us, when we stop playing sports, when we get into the real world, we lose this athlete identity. And when we lose this athlete identity, we're trying to figure out who the heck are we in the world again? Who am I? What am I to do? And so typically, if there's levels of insecurity there, what most people do is take to social media and start posting this life, this fake life that they live. And oh, look where I live, and look at my car, and look, I bought this, and look, I'm vacationing here. And it's all just to cover up the fact that they don't have clarity. They don't have real purpose. They don't have real deep meaning. How do I know this? I mean, this was me. This was me when I got a Fortune 250 job after college, living in the city of Boston, posting about all the little networking dinners and the skyscraper I was working in, and the Gucci shoes and everything else, and going partying and hanging out on the weekends and vacationing here and friends. And it's like everybody was just trying to find their meaning and purpose. They were lacking clarity. Right? So what happens is we start to try to feel like we're perfect in other people's eyes, and this starts feeling suffocated and overwhelming. So what you have to do is you have to focus on what you want to achieve, and what your purpose is from God. What you have to get clear on why you were created and what you were created to do, and that's the good route to replace that with. A good route to replace that with. The fourth route is external expectations. This is a big one because external expectations we can feel like, again, is another positive, but when it starts to feel more like a burden and like your worth is placed on other people when your worth is placed on other people, giving you value and making you feel like you're worth something, you start directly tying your identity to the demands of them. You start directly tying your identity to what they expect of you. And then self-doubt creeps in because your worth and your value and how good you think you are is based on someone else's approval or disapproval. So for example, research has shown that athletes who feel pressured by parents to excel in their sport without autonomy, like you're not saying like, yeah, push me, this is what I want, right? And there's like healthy communication there. They report higher levels of anxiety and diminished passion for the game. So the fear of letting people down starts to transform your mindset to a lack of belief in your own abilities, because the focus shifts from internal motivation, which is what I teach, and I'm so specific and so anal on, is that internal drive, okay, it coming from within versus being something that you're trying to be validated from without, okay? So the solution is set boundaries between your goals and other people's expectations. Well, how do we do that? We start to align our actions with deeper faith, with a deeper person, with deeper values, okay? You start putting your faith on God. God, I'm putting my faith into you. I'm putting my validation into you. I'm putting my expectations into your hands, not coach, not mom, not dad, not even myself. What do you expect from me? And I'm going to be faithful in that process. The fifth one is negative self-talk. So this one is super popular. So, you guys definitely have probably heard this before, super mainstream, but another negative, bad root is this negative self-talk. Okay. Negative self-talk is like planting weeds in the garden of your mind. I love that. It's like planting weeds in the garden of your mind. According to cognitive behavioral therapy, our thoughts shape our emotions and our actions. So whatever you speak, it typically comes to pass. So biblically, we're told in Proverbs, the tongue has the power of life and death. So literally what we're speaking, whether it's out loud, whether it's to ourselves or even thinking, has the power to create or to kill. So if you constantly tell yourself, I'm not good enough, or I'll never win, or man, this situation is so bad, and I don't know if I can come back from this. I'm not sure if I'm going to be able to start again. Any of that negative stuff, I don't know if I'm good enough. Coach doesn't believe in me. Anything on that negative, it's going to manifest in your behavior. Your body language is going to change. Your attitude is going to change. Your energy is going to change. You start playing small, making tentative moves instead of bold ones. You want to play it safe. Versus doing the thing that you know you need to do to earn the spot, to earn the recognition, to earn the goal that you have. So this is what's known as self-fulfilling prophecy. When you expect failure, when you think negative, I'm at this, for so many of you guys, I'm at this college and I have no friends. I'm not going to make any friends. No one's like me. Well, then that's going to be a self-fulfilling prophecy, and that's what's going to come to pass. That's what's going to happen. Instead, you have to tell yourself, I'm going to make friends. I'm going to find a community. I'm going to start again. I'm going to do this. I'm going to do that, to give yourself the best possible position to make it happen. And if it doesn't happen, well, you did everything you could to try to make it happen. And there's no what ifs, there's no regrets. But it's you have to uplift yourself. This is biblically proven, and we were told biblically as well, the power of the tongue. So to break this root of self-doubt, you have to be intentional about your inner dialogue. So do what I call self-empowering talk. This is the type of talk that empowers you and uplifts you and makes you better, right? And the last one is perfectionism. This is one that a lot of athletes struggle with, as well as this feeling of perfectionism. And the tough part about this is perfectionism can feel like a good virtue. It can feel like something that's good for us, right? It can feel like, well, I want to crush it. My standards are high, and this is something I struggle with a lot too. But the problem is when we're trying to be perfect, we're setting standards that are unreachable and impossible. And we know that subconsciously. So what happens is we'll go for 2 weeks or 3 weeks, and then we'll lose motivation. We'll lose our discipline. We'll lose our desire, because we're never going to achieve that goal in the first place. So want to be your best, and I'm just as competitive as anybody else. Wanting to be your best is not bad, right? Your standards should be high. You should be crushing it. You should expect, to win at anything that you put your mind to, right? Within faith. But when you're trying to be perfect and thinking of it like you're never going to make a mistake, then all that's going to happen is going to create anxiety. It's going to increase your self-doubt. So what you have to do is celebrate small victories. See, what perfectionists do is they focus on every tiny mistake and only what they could have improved, without thinking for a second about all the small little wins, all the small little details, all the little things that they did right to get there. That's what keeps you going, keeps you motivated, keeps you empowered. It reinforces reinforces the belief that you are good enough and you are capable, versus reinforcing the belief that nothing you do is ever good enough. So studies show that perfectionism is linked to high levels of anxiety and depression, particularly amongst athletes, because we're so performance driven. So it creates a mental environment where success is never celebrated and failure is catastrophic. So instead of enjoying the process of growth, perfectionists become trapped in a constant cycle of dissatisfaction. To overcome this, what we're going to do is we're going to trust the process, and we're going to focus on progress, not just perfection. So I call this relentless progressive action. This is just being relentless in the actions that you take, relentless in your disciplines, relentless in your focus, not worrying about the outcome, not worrying about the result, not worrying about achieving the goal, just being relentless in what you do every single day. That way, no matter if mistakes happen or failure happens or any little bit of regression happens or a down moment happens, you're still showing up with the same motivation, the same desire, the same intensity to continue getting better, to continue staying focused, to continue leveling up. Instead of being perfect, focus on the process through just taking action every single day. So if you want to crush self-doubt, guys, you have to uplift these six roots, prune them off, plant and nurture these 6 good roots, and I promise you will believe in yourself at a level you've never believed in yourself ever again. You'll start taking massive action. Doors will start opening, but you have to be intentional and consistent at this process. So if you want help with this, if this is something you're like, man, okay, how do I do this? How does this pertain to me? I need help. I want coaching on this. I have a community for you guys, for Christian athletes. Okay, I have a mindset coaching program where I come and I coach you guys. I give you the actual resources, the to-dos, the community, the coaching calls, the accountability, everything that you need to level up at your absolute best, to perform, crush goals, but also be mentally and emotionally healthy in the process. Everything's scripture-based, biblically based. I pray with you guys, all that good stuff, and put you in a community of other Christian athletes looking to crush it. So if you want to join that, there's a link below. You can click 7 days risk-free, right? If you join for a week and you decide you don't like it, I'll give you your money back. It's only $97 a month. Okay, and you're literally going to get everything that you possibly could need to level up your performance. I've been a performance coach for 13 years, training D1 athletes, pro athletes, down to youth, helping you guys perform at your highest level. So if that sounds like something you're interested in, click the link below. And by all means, hopefully I'll see you on the inside. If not, I'll see you in the next video. Feel free to subscribe, comment what you might need help with. I'll be happy to respond to you guys or even make content on it. Until next time, appreciate you guys for being here. I'll see you in the next one.